Whoops. Don't get knocked over, Ted.
All right. We are live. Welcome, everybody.
Hello.
Okay, hopefully this will have a better quality than last time. Alright, I'm just going to check and make sure that the volume's working. Last time. Yeah! Alright. We got good volume. Sweet. Cool. Yeah, so welcome everybody to our comic book hangout. Me and Lewis are back in action. We're excited to be here. Looks like the stream's running better this time. I don't know, Lewis, if you saw my previous video. I did a live chat with Yoda and Groot.
No, I haven't seen that yet.
So, looks like you're a little bit behind me in the video. Can you do this? Can you do that?
If you're watching on YouTube, there's a delay.
No, I'm watching on Skype. Alright, it's back now. Alright.
Sorry.
There's low output for some reason. That's not good. Okay. Yeah, last time I did this, my video didn't really work well. Hey, somebody's on. Welcome. We are just here hoping to hang out and talk about comic books. So if you got any questions, let us know. And hopefully the video quality will be better this time, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to have to permanently start doing this downstairs. I don't know. Let's try that. Anyways, we were talking about or what's it called? Detective Comics. Right. So I just read I think it's 995 and 996 in Detective Comics, and I was telling Lewis about those. So basically, I mean, Tomasi's a genius, just really great. So I've really enjoyed him in Detective Comics. Of course, it's just really, really high quality artwork and story. In 95, I think it is, he hangs out with whatever that guy's name is. Or he's hunting him down because he thinks oh,
Ducard.
He thinks he shot Alfred because he's one of the few people who knows who Batman is. And so it's got to be somebody who knows who the family is, which is interesting. And so he goes and hunts him down, and spoiler alert.
Actually, he figured it out the hard way.
Did he?
Yeah, so like he trained Bruce, and then later on, Bruce shows up as Batman, and
no, not the samurai guy.
No. I'm talking about no. So Henry Ducard is like a French guy who taught Batman like some detective skills and stuff.
Oh, okay.
They mush it all together for Batman Begins. That's why it's confusing.
Okay.
So.
Well, apparently Damien killed that guy's son.
Yeah.
And then
I read that somewhere, but I don't remember where it was that happened.
And then and so Batman goes to hunt him down. The guy ends up killing himself to save Batman, which is interesting. And he's like, I guess you killed both of us. And then after that, the next issue, he goes after the samurai dude on the mountain. I don't know who he is, Master or something. If I had the comic book right here.
It might be Koji or something.
Oh, actually, yeah. I do have the comic book right here. Because I is smart. I actually thought about it. Speaking of, I didn't show you this before.
Oh, that's nice. I like that.
So, pretty sweet. I'm excited. So it is 90. So it's 96 and 97. I said 95.
Wow, I mean, we're counting down real fast to 1,000, aren't we?
I guess so.
Next month, man.
Yeah. So let's see here. In this one, he kills that guy, and then he goes after the guy on the mountain. Let's see if I can find his name. It definitely reminded me of
Iron Fist.
So Master Sensei Kirigi. Kirigi?
I don't know.
Some guy. And some old guy.
Important to Batman, right?
Important to Batman somehow. He trained him. Alright, so, and then after 96, Batman meets the original, or supposedly the original Mr. Miracle. So the guy who trained Scott Free.
Right. I'm trying to remember his name.
Well, I can help you. Here's the cover for
excellent.
The second one. So he's chained up and he's got Batman's got a Mr. Miracle. I'll show it to you so you can see it.
Oh, mask on. Yeah.
Love that his bat horn things.
They're bat ears, man.
Bat ears, right. Whatever. Hey, someone's on. Welcome. Thaddeus Brown. That's his name.
Oh, right. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
So I was like, there's another Mr. Miracle?
There's a third one. His name's Shiloh Norman.
Ah, fun.
That's Scott's understudy / mentee.
Mentee?
Because Scott's the mentor.
I gotcha. Yeah.
But yeah. So this storyline very much seems like it's going through Batman's history,
right,
and fundamentally changing and or affecting in present time things from the past. You know what I'm saying? Like, so yeah. Leslie Tompkins, she was one of the few people who knew Batman was Bruce Wayne.
Right.
She's dead now, right? And spoiler alerts. So I'm really interested to find out who it is behind it all. I think that'll be sort of the thing that really tells me if they nail the story or not.
Right.
Because that's my biggest beef with like anytime you have like these mysteries, you're either gonna nail it. Like I thought Hush was really well done. So you'll either nail it like that, or you'll whiff it like Identity Crisis or whatever. Superman's dad coming back, whatever. The Oz Effect, was that what it was?
The what?
Oz Effect.
Oh yeah. Man, I was so disappointed in how all that happened.
Right.
Like I thought it was cool that he came back and was a villain, and I thought it played off really well. Until Bendis got a hold of it.
Well, right. Well,
and now
my only problem was
even before that. And I don't even think it was just Bendis' fault. Bendis just used them wrong, I think, recently. But before that, they just stopped doing, like, nothing happened. I was like,
right.
Why did you do all of this in Rebirth and then, like, nothing?
Well, that seems to be DC's thing. It's like, let's do something. Oh, we're not going to be able to finish the story, probably because they want to use what we were going to do with this character with somebody else, and they're sleeping at the wheel doing this Doomsday Clock story and not getting it finished, and more stuff like that. So, failure to launch, I think, is what they call that.
Yeah.
Where they get all excited and they build up this story that we get all excited about, and then they're like, we're gonna have to walk it back some because we've set the bar too high.
Yeah.
We're gonna overshadow the actual story that's supposed to be the story.
Yeah.
So.
Well, they hyped up Doomsday Clock in 2017.
That's right.
And it was coming out, this big thing in November, written by Jeff Johns himself. I think it was Jeff Johns. And
wow. No. You're in November of 2017 is when that book started.
Right.
And we're only on what, issue 8, 9?
9.
Are you still getting that?
Yeah. Well, when it comes out, I'm getting it.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if they just dropped that series.
No, they've got to finish it. It's supposed to be Jeff Johns' big Superman story or whatever.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, it doesn't come out consistently. It just, I think there's a bunch of drama going on in DC that we're not really hearing about.
Well, a number of their folks just got fired.
Really?
Yeah. Because they want to focus on, like, executives and things like that got fired.
Yeah.
One dude who'd been with the company, 20-plus years, got sacked. Yeah.
Interesting.
That came out late last week, I think. So, don't know.
Hey, while I'm thinking about it, there's a thing about, well, I'm not going to explain how I ever reminded of this. You know my mind enough. Go watch my most recent video that I posted tonight when we get done, or maybe I'll talk to you after. If you're watching, I posted a video that I think is going to talk about a future character in DC and some exciting things they might do. I'll tell you later, Lewis.
Okay.
But it reminded me because it's tied to this dialogue about DC. But yeah, so I mean, if anybody can make a really good lead up to Action or Detective Comics 1000, it's Tomasi, in my opinion. So I was looking through something the other day, and I found a Tomasi Batman run, I think.
Oh, yeah, we were talking about that.
I think I was at Ollie's and I saw it. I was like, what? I remembered you said something about it, but I'd never seen it. So I thought about getting it, but I never did. I ended up getting a bunch of other stuff, but...
You know they'll be there.
They'll be there. Well, hey, if you're watching, we're here live, so if you got any questions, shoot them at us. We'd love to talk to you. And thanks for watching. We're just been talking about Detective Comics and the whole problems going on in DC right now. It's we could talk about all the problems in Marvel, but I feel like everybody talks about those because they're more obvious. But
real quick, they're gonna delay number 9 of Fantastic Four.
Really?
Yeah, I read that yesterday.
Is that the next one?
No, it's like one more out.
Okay.
It's the conclusion of the current storyline they're running with Galactus and Dr. Doom.
Oh, I still need to... I was listening to our last live chat, and you had mentioned the most recent Fantastic Four. I still haven't read it yet.
I haven't gone and got it. I'm sure Brandon's like, is he coming back? Play for Life Comics.
He'll
play for life because comics are awesome.
If you don't at least tell him that you're coming back, he'll sell it.
Oh, I told him I'd be coming back. I just wouldn't be as frequent. I figure I'll try and drop in this week. So Wolfman's big 100-page Superman story comes out Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think
I forgot all about
it Man and Superman.
Huh?
I think the title of it is Man and Superman.
interesting. Man, I love Wolfman. He's great.
The artwork looks awesome on it. I don't know who it is, but I saw some of the artwork, like a few panels, and I was like,
yeah,
wow, that looks really good. So it looks like it's going to sort of cover Superman coming to Metropolis and touch on some of that. So I'm intrigued. It's Wolfman, so
yeah, I love Wolfman.
Yeah, it doesn't take much to make me interested. You put him on a character that I think he does well, and I'm like, okay, I'll look at it.
I'm curious what he's going to be doing next because, Raven just ended.
Okay.
And I'm super far behind on that series, but I have them all, so I can catch up anytime. It was okay. Not Wolfman's best work. It wasn't uninteresting. I'll give it that.
Right.
I enjoyed every minute of it. It's just it's not some of the other. It wasn't as good as some of the other stuff, but I mean it's better than a lot of other writers right now. And then Cyborg, I think, just got canceled out of nowhere. Of course, I love Cyborg.
That's funny because he's going to be in the Doom Patrol series on the DC app.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, it's really interesting considering they made him an offer at one point to join up with them, and he's like, I wouldn't fit in or something. like they had that scene in Titans where the Doom Patrol invites him to join with them, and he's like, I'm not that far gone yet, guys.
Yeah.
And so I think it's really weird how they're trying to cram him on the Justice League and cram him in the Doom Patrol, but the Titans, where he actually belongs, they're just like, we won't put him there.
Yeah.
So,
I was watching Comic Trips. He did a thing about whether or not the X-Men were a copy of Doom Patrol.
Doom Patrol, right. They came out so close together.
He spends most of it really trying to get at the essence of Doom Patrol and talking about the history of the publication more than he does like really discussing whether it was a copy. But I really enjoyed that. It was interesting. He talked about how how the Doom Patrol is kind of a bunch of misfits that don't really fit into the main continuity.
Right.
And so I think those are some really interesting characters. I thought that was, one of Cyborg's redeeming qualities. But then he always had Beast Boy, who just had full on embraced his weirdness because of his time on the Doom Patrol, and the fact that he's loves being a popular person.
Yeah. And so Beast Boy is the adopted son of Elastigirl and
what's his name?
Mento.
Right.
Steve Dayton.
Yeah.
And so Elastigirl is a mainstay in the Doom Patrol, and so that was the only reason Beast Boy was there.
Yeah.
And he never really saw himself as a freak in the same way that Robot Man or Negative Man did. So
right.
Negative Man is the guy in the bandages, by the way.
Right.
So anyway, I still don't understand the justification for having Cyborg in there, except I think they think if we have a popular level character in there that people do know, they'll be interested in those that they don't know, which is sort of the opposite of what Marvel did with the Guardians of the Galaxy. It's like they could have just done Doom Patrol and let Doom Patrol stand or fall on its own.
Yeah.
As this weird show, instead of feeling like, oh, we've got to have somebody to draw them in. It's like, how about make good stuff that we like, and then we'll just trust you to make good stuff that we like, kind of like we did with Marvel. But DC is like, no, we don't want to do that. That takes too much work.
Right. I mean, DC, they just they excel at writing good stories and characters, and they do not do well with managing TV or live action movies and TV shows.
But their animated stuff is off the chain.
That's right. They got a good group there.
Yeah.
While we're talking about odd characters, there was a preview of the Wonder Twins.
No, I read that preview.
In a few books. Did you read it?
Yeah, I saw it online.
What did you think?
First of all, the Wonder Twins won't work on their own.
Yeah.
They only, I mean, they're aliens, right? And it seems like they've been sent to Earth to be aliens. I don't. It just seems stupid. Like
aliens.
Yeah. If they were on a team, I think you can make it work.
Yeah.
I was a little weirded out by the presentation that man, why can't Zan, right? The boy, whatever.
Yeah, I don't remember his names.
Yeah, anyway, he's given some sort of presentation in school.
Yeah.
About I guess where they come from, and they're just talking. It's stupid.
I remember reading a little about that, and it was one of the most boring things I read.
Was it the same thing I'm talking about?
Yeah.
No, it served no purpose other than to show that he's just weird.
Yeah.
Which they could have done with any other topic than the one that he chose.
Right.
It just seemed unnecessarily graphic while not quite being graphic.
Yeah.
For the sake of gratuity, and you're just like, okay, well, I already don't want to read this. So thanks for settling my mind on not buying this comic book, you know? Like, I have no desire to even think about that.
I don't even remember what he said, but I was so bored with it.
No. I mean, it just borders on incest and weird stuff like that. And it's like, no, thank you.
Well, I remember when the previews for, like, Man of Steel came out.
The movie?
No, sorry. The Bendis.
Oh, the Bendis book, yeah.
It was so dull and so boring. But when I read the actual issues, I was like, wow, this is actually good. I know everybody else hated it, but I enjoyed it. And of course, now I ended up dropping it, Action Comics.
Yeah, I watched that video.
Because it was just so boring. Like, nothing interesting was happening in that. It was.
I saw a preview where it turns out Lois is going to tell her dad about her relationship with Superman.
Yeah.
But the way that it reads, it could be sort of ambiguous, like she's cheating on Clark with Superman or something.
I don't know.
So I just think that sounds really stupid to drive a wedge between her and her husband with Superman. Like, we don't need I think it's just stupid. But.
I agree. I'm not liking some of the direction that's going. So, yeah.
I think it fundamentally changes who the characters are. Lois is not someone who would want people to think that she's cheating on her husband.
Right. Well, and in Action Comics, they've got her living in her own apartment, and he's been living in the apartment with her. But she said
Superman or Clark?
Huh?
Superman or Clark?
Well, he is Superman.
No, I know, but like...
Well, Clark's been living there, or spending nights there, at least.
Yeah.
And she's like, I need this space to myself to be a journalist. I'm like, you've got an office, lady, and you've got one of the best offices in the Daily Planet. Like, what do you need?
Right.
Like, is that not good enough? Like, do journalists not go to work and do their journaling and in an office.
Oh, she's a writer though, right? Like she writes novels or something now.
Well, she does that too, but still, you've got a huge office.
Right, she can put
and close the door, and you'll be all right.
Right, and put a fold-out cot in there if you feel like you need to sleep by yourself.
Right, if you need to go do something, go to a coffee shop or whatever. That's where most people write anyways these days.
Right.
So I don't see why they need to make their relationship ambiguous. It's ridiculous.
And that seems to be the big thing that's being pushed right now is the ambiguity about the nature of Lois and Clark's relationship. And I'm like, this relationship's been established for 80-something years, so can we just not, screw with this?
Skip over all this and... Yeah. For a minute, I thought that Venice was going to have him go out with the fire chief. And I was
yeah.
I was like, seriously?
Right, so with that... Oh, go ahead.
I was like, he's married.
Right. There's that scene in, I guess it's Man of Steel, where he meets her, and she says something about him as he's flying away, and he looks back over his shoulder and smiles at her, and I'm just like, is he flirting with her? Like, Superman doesn't do that.
Right.
Like, he didn't flirt, and it doesn't come across like, yeah, I heard that. It just comes across like, haha, you like me like that, and I know it. And it's so weird because it's not Superman.
Yeah, I know. By the way, when you lean that far over away, you almost get cut off. So I had to cut some of your screen so that it would fit.
We're good. I'm sorry.
The important thing is that you can see Blue Beetle, of course. I would touch him, but I don't want to.
No, don't risk it. It's not worth it.
For those of you who can't see, I've got a camera set up here with him taped so that he stands perfectly at level height with Blue Beetle. But I'm actually pretty impressed with my own ingenuity at the feat. So
yeah.
But I'm excited about Detective Comics 1000.
Yes.
You know what?
The covers alone are hyping it.
Because we've got 3 issues left.
Yeah.
Isn't it in March?
6 weeks. Yeah.
Because it's
end of next month. Yeah.
It's gonna skip. I think they're doing 2 issues this month, and then they skip a couple of weeks or something.
That makes sense. That's what they did with Action Comics, I think.
Right.
For 1000.
And remember, we're gonna plan on meeting down there.
You still good with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to find out what day it is and ask off, but shouldn't be.
It's a Wednesday.
Yeah.
The 27th.
Is it the 27th of March?
Yeah.
Okay. That's far enough, I think. It shouldn't be a problem. I don't know why I'm checking on live YouTube. Yeah. No, I ain't got nothing to do that day.
Sweet.
So. I actually even put it in my phone to remind me. So I could have just looked earlier. Could have looked earlier, but nope. Anyways, yeah, I'm excited. We'll have to do some kind of live stream or whatnot.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
So if you're watching, guys, I know that we're kind of lulling. So if you got any questions or any topics, let us know. We'll talk about that. But I don't remember where I was going with this. Oh, look for a live stream that day. Probably in the morning. In sometime.
Whatever time Brandon opens.
Afternoonish. Sometime. Or
whatever time we're able to work it out.
At least some videos that day, if we can manage it. So.
If not, pictures on Facebook.
That's right. That's right. Anywho. So I was reading this other series called Freedom Fighters.
Yes.
Is there a
I have
history?
not yet watched that video. I've got it pulled up in one of these 862 tabs I have up here.
Is there a history with that?
Yes. So they're from Earth X, and there the Nazis win, which I'm sure they keep most of that in the series. And so the freedom fighters continue to fight against the Nazis. And Uncle Sam is the spirit of America. He shows up whenever America's in trouble.
Right.
You've got characters like the Ray, which the original one was the dad of the Ray character that's in the DC cartoon series or whatever they're doing.
Right.
And then you got the Human Bomb, who basically just makes explosions. Let's see, Doll Man, who's like a miniaturized guy, kind of like the Atom, but he doesn't shrink, he's just small.
Right.
Black Condor, depending on which one you're reading, like, I don't know what the guy looks like in this, but he's a guy who can fly, and then there's the guy who has like wings and can fly.
Yeah.
I like the look of the guy with the wings better, but the other guy is more original.
So I think there's actually two teams. So because they start off in the 40s in issue 1, and then all of them die.
Really?
Possibly.
Huh?
Possibly.
Okay.
And then they fast forward to the present day, and then there's a new team of freedom fighters. Uncle Sam disappears.
Right.
And for 60, 70 years, there's no hope. And so, issue 2 is the new freedom fighters showing up. And I think there might be some that are the same as in previous iterations. I really just don't know.
Yeah.
Or it could just be a new generation that's kind of supposed to be from the originals, like the descendants of them. But I think they're doing this like allusion to hope, bringing Uncle Sam back by bringing the spirit of America back, and so that's really cool. I was really impressed, and so yeah, it was really good. I really enjoyed it.
I read an interview with I think it was Venditti, right? That's the writer.
Yeah, man, Venditti's great. He's great.
Yeah, I read an article where he was saying like they had Jesse Owens sort of leading the underground. I thought that was a really nice touch. Jesse Owens was the black Olympic runner guy.
Okay.
And he sat out the Olympics that were in Germany.
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't let him compete or whatever.
Yeah.
And that was before the U.S.'s involvement in World War II, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And so I think that was a nice little historical touch that he had there. And so I think he's just sort of doing an updated version of the same sort of story, but
yeah,
you know, changing characters here and there, tweaking things and that sort of thing. So.
Right.
I love the concept. I mean, you can't go wrong. Freedom fighters fighting Nazis. I mean, who doesn't like to see a Nazi get punched in the face?
That's right.
I mean, they put it on the front of Captain America's first appearance. He's knocking out Hitler. I mean,
yeah. Well, given the direction that Marvel's done with Nazis lately, I was afraid they were going to go in a similar direction, and they didn't. And so I was appreciative of that. Like the freedom fighters actually sing "Oh Beautiful," I think it is. They sing one of our songs. I don't remember, and I think they give a pledge of allegiance. I was like, well, they're very patriotic. I like it.
Yeah,
and like they're really capturing the spirit of America. It's pretty cool.
Well, in that article, I think Venditti was saying that he had a father or grandfather in the war,
Yeah.
And so that helped inform his writing.
Huh.
So,
that's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. What was he writing?
Wasn't he writing Green Lantern at one point?
It was one of the Green Lantern titles. I think Jurgens was writing Green Lanterns, and I think he was writing Hal Jordan and the Green Lanterns, if I'm not mistaken, or it's the other way. But I think that's the right. And then he wrote one of the New Age of Heroes.
Yes.
I don't remember which one he wrote.
Was it Immortal Men?
It was not. It was one that I enjoyed.
Oh.
That's because his writing was good. I'm trying to remember. It wasn't the Terrifics, was it? No, I didn't think so.
No.
I don't. There was. It wasn't Sideways because that was Didio. Man, I'm blanking. No. It's not. It's not New Age. It's Hawkman.
Oh right, yes.
And that has been amazing. Just amazing. Just great. So I really like him. Feel like he did something else recently, but I don't remember what it was. But really great. Really enjoyed his writing. So
Wikipedia is right here, so let me just
well, I'll tell you, if you didn't watch my Walmart video yet,
I haven't.
Guess who is writing the new story in the Walmart Teen Titans?
I can only imagine it's Bendis or Tom King, since those are the only two writing.
Dan Jurgens.
Really?
Really?
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. The only complaint I have, because it's got Starfire, it's got Raven, it's got Robin, it's got Beast Boy, and I'm hoping they'll eventually get Cyborg, and they might get Wally West in there. I don't remember. I only read one issue. Okay, I have two complaints. One complaint is there's like 10 pages.
No, I know. That stinks, doesn't it?
Yeah. And then there's 3 copies of comic books I already have.
What issues were they, by the way?
So they're doing, what is it? Teen Titans, the run right before Jeff Johns, right after Young Justice, the one you gave me.
No, that is Jeff Johns.
That is Jeff Johns?
Yeah.
I thought Jeff Johns came later, like during New 52.
No. Jeff Johns was doing Teen Titans long before New 52.
Really? Okay. Well, it's Jeff Johns then.
Yeah.
And then, so it's that run. So it's doing issues 1 through however many books they get out.
Right.
And then they're doing Super Sons.
Really?
So, and Sideways.
Huh.
So all 3 of those. Hey, so, that'd be a good one for you guys to get. I bet you and Christopher both would enjoy them.
Maybe so.
Because you haven't been getting Sideways and Super Sons, and Super Sons is well worth it. I know that you don't have the Teen Titans since you gave it to me, or do you have another copy?
I have some of them.
Well,
I just got doubles.
You've already read them, but you'll have 3 new comic books. So for $5 at Walmart, that's worth it for you, man.
Oh yeah, no, I like I was telling you before, I got a couple for Christmas.
Right.
My wife's sister bought me a Batman one and a Justice League one.
Right.
And
is it number
like I was telling you beforehand, I feel kind of bad having insulted the New 52 as much as I did.
Yeah.
Because the Aquaman stuff, like that's in here, and what I was reading about on DC's Wikia page, I'm like, okay, that's not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And actually, there's some really cool stuff that they apparently incorporated into the movie, and so I feel even worse, hating on it. But just real quick with Venditti, He did actually write Green Lantern and then Green Lantern Corps in the New 52 stuff. And then he wrote Hal Jordan and the Green Lanterns. And you're right, he is currently writing the Hawkman stuff.
And Freedom Fighters now.
Well, right. Yeah.
So, yeah, I think I saw some of the Green Lantern stuff at Ollie's.
Yes, you did.
Of course, I have Hal Jordan Green Lanterns, but I think I saw it, and I thought about getting. I don't remember what I got, to be honest. It's in. I know I got the Shazam. I got something else.
Yeah, I feel like I need to go get the Shazam.
I think that's Jeff Johns' Shazam too.
It is, I know.
But anyway,
he wrote a decent Shazam in the JSA series they ran alongside Grant Morrison's Justice League.
Yeah.
He's the one who helped sort of clean up Hawkman's origin until they screwed it up again. We talked about that in a separate video.
Yeah. But but yeah, Dan Jurgens is on Teen Titans, dude. It's awesome. The one issue I read was great.
Who are they fighting?
The Fearsome Five.
Okay, that you can't go wrong with that. That's a excellent matchup.
So, they actually got what's it? The Tinkerer? No, that's not his name.
Gizmo.
Gizmo. They got Gizmo correct. He's an adult.
Right.
So, I love it. But okay, my only other complaint is it's Tim Drake.
What?
Yep, that was my thought too.
So weird.
That is super weird.
Huh. I don't even know how that would begin to work.
Yeah, I'm like, maybe if the other three were a little bit younger than the others, and it was maybe the others just happened to be out. And
are you sure it's Wally and not?
Well, Wally's not in it yet. The one issue I read.
Oh, okay.
So,
huh.
I don't know why they used Tim Drake. You know what? I said this in my. I didn't know why they didn't use Dick Grayson, because Dick Grayson doesn't exist right now. That's why.
Oh, that's true. There you go.
But if they were doing it as an older plan, I mean, they're Teen Titans. None of those are teens anymore. Even Tim Drake is too old to be a teenager. So, I don't know. They could have just said, "Oh, this is in the past." But Dick Grayson isn't supposed to be with Starfire anymore, or with that group of Titans.
Right.
At least they haven't really talked about it. Stupid. More stupid stuff from DC.
Right. Sorry, my wife is texting me.
You're fine. You're fine. So that was my only complaint. I thought it was super weird, but I was glad Tim Drake was back in a book.
Yeah, that's true.
But I felt like why would any of these characters be in here? It's weird because they had Teen Titans, which has Tim Drake in it, and then Super Sons, which has Damian. It would have been perfect for them to have Dick Grayson in the first one. You have
but the problem is he doesn't exist anymore.
Huh?
He doesn't exist anymore.
Well, if you just say it's in the past.
Oh, that's true.
He'll be back. He'll be back.
He has to. I'm telling you, Nightwing is DC Comics' way forward away from a purely Bruce Wayne Batman.
Yeah.
Like as far as movies and stuff goes. And I don't mean F Batman, the TV show Titans,
right.
Dick Grayson, but I mean like legit Nightwing.
Right.
I think he's like Batman and Spider-Man smushed together.
Yeah.
And way more likable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he's more confident, I think, than Spider-Man. But I don't know. I just feel like he's one of those characters that, if they use him well, can really serve them well.
Yeah.
But I think they're scared to use him. You know?
Well, I feel like because of all the retroactive stuff they've done to the character,
yeah,
because there's little place for him to go now.
Mm.
They gave him the mantle of Batman, and then they took it away from him without warning. They're not really giving any good reason, and now he's regressed back to Nightwing, and it's like, well, what do you do with him now?
Well, if Dan Didio had his way, he'd kill him.
Yeah.
That was his plan back in Infinite Crisis. Kill him off, because his thing is, how can you have Batman be this reasonably young guy, and then also have his 20-something sidekick serving alongside him?
Yeah.
And it not be weird.
Well, I think that goes back to the fundamental principle of the problem of DC and Marvel in continuity-wise, is that they're too afraid to move on. And, you know, the last time we really did that was with Wally West, and did it for 20 years, and it worked fine, and then they had to regress.
Right. I mean, and then they did it with Kyle Rayner to, I felt like, reasonable success, because that was the mid-90s, so we'll say 93, 94, and that lasted until, 10 years or so, until Rebirth, which I think was in the early 2000s.
Right.
No, you know what, that might have even been closer to 15 years that they did it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like, I feel like, and maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, at least 10 years, and I feel like they want to have their cake and eat it too. And it's like, you can easily do miniseries that feature these characters that have died, or
send them to another multiverse or universe.
Well, they didn't have other multiverses at that point, but they could have easily done like older stories. They would just have to fit it within continuity, you know. And that's both companies' problem is, they'll tell you we don't care about continuity, and then they'll voice on you some instance where they're super obsessed with continuity, and you're like, well, which is it?
Yeah.
Or like, I get, you know, Punisher started out as a Vietnam War veteran. Right. So after a while, he's going to be super old if you keep referencing that particular instance of military action.
Right.
So he becomes, you know, some other campaign. Like, I think now he's like an Afghanistan veteran or something like that.
Yeah.
But it could just be a nondescript military thing. It doesn't have to be this polarizing event in history, right?
Right.
It can be less vague so that you can keep playing with the character.
Right.
Or you can kill him and bring him back, right? And have him just be younger when he comes back. That's what they did with Green Arrow. You know, he died because he's always been one of the older ones, so he was like closer to 40 than like Superman, who was sort of eternally 28 to 32, somewhere in there. And then they just brought him back younger. Right? And that makes sense. Like, if you're going to bring him back, you may as well bring him back younger.
Right. You have more to do.
Right. And then when people question it, you say, well, he was brought back younger. Okay. You know, it's comics. Some of these things ought not to be as obsessed over as they are, but then other things that should be obsessed over usually get ignored.
Well, I thought they did pretty well with some of the Silver Age heroes when they introduced them.
Right, because they kept them at the same time.
Right, so they kept, I mean, the old heroes kind of got put on the back burner, and suddenly you had all these new heroes, and everybody loves them, and now those are everybody's favorites.
Right.
And they did that with in the to the next generation with Wally and Kyle and Dick and
Connor,
and Connor, and everybody loved it. And then suddenly they've reversed everything.
Right.
So it's like, oh, we gotta go back. It's ridiculous.
Well, and you know, it's funny because part of it is they're like, oh, this isn't, you know, the character that everybody knows, so we can't market it. So, like, if we do a show about Green Arrow's son, people are going to be like, this isn't Oliver Queen. This is his son. And you're like, okay, then do a show about Oliver and then have him die at some point and hand it off to Connor and see if you can't make a good show about that.
Right.
Because ultimately, the point of comics isn't to just have Captain America be Captain America. I mean, if it comes to the point where he needs to die or retire, okay. Just write a good story about it.
Yeah.
That's all we want is a good story about it.
Right. That's what we want. And honestly, if Marvel had just gotten to where they just didn't care about continuity and didn't try to fix things, we probably just wouldn't care.
No. Well, and the thing is, Marvel cares even less than
DC does.
DC. I mean, the whole crisis event in the 80s was because DC's like, well, we do care about that stuff, but we can't keep going the way we're going.
Right.
So let's try to find a way to fix it. And then in the 90s, Mark Waid came up with the idea of Hyper Time. He and Grant Morrison, where basically all the stories happened, but not all of them are the main canon.
Right.
If that makes sense. So
Well,
there is a Superman that can juggle planets. Like he just pushes a planet with his hand out of the way. But most of them can't do that.
I feel like the multiverse, though, would solve like every problem you need. Just make unlimited Earths, and
You've obviously not read Crisis on Infinite Earths, because that was the problem.
I haven't read that.
Yeah. Well, I gave it to you, so.
Yeah.
No excuse.
Well, I haven't barely read some of the new stuff.
Well, see, so let me just help you understand what happened. So, go ahead.
It's right there.
What's right there?
Well, it's on a different screen, but
okay.
I'm pointing to the book you gave me.
Yeah, all right. So, here's the problem. The Superman that was created in 1938, eventually he gets married to Lois Lane,
right?
And he becomes the Superman of Earth 1.
Okay.
And he still works for the Daily Planet and that sort of thing.
Right.
Superman of Earth 2, though, he eventually takes a job as a news anchor.
Okay.
Okay. So, which one do you want to read about?
I mean, I'd rather read about Earth 1.
Okay, so that was kind of the problem, because Earth 2 Superman, I'm sorry, Earth 1 Superman actually is Earth 2 Superman, and then, because Earth 1 is where the main DC universe was at, but, so that Earth 1 Superman no longer looked like the Superman that you and I knew, because he's a news anchor now. He's not at the Daily Planet. He's,
right.
He's a bachelor, and that sort of thing.
Well,
he's on the Justice League. The other guy is on the Justice Society, and so it gets confusing. People are like, there's more than one Superman, and part of it is folks were writing stories and not telling you which Superman it was. And so it just got really confusing. I think, folks like us could probably figure it out, but, the average reader at the time would get confused and not know, and then not want to buy and or write in and complain, and so DC was like, we got to do something. It's our 50th anniversary, so.
Well, and that was kind of before a lot of the multiverse stuff.
No. The multiverse came into existence in the Flash of Two Worlds, which was Flash 123, I think. I could be wrong. It's around that issue. And so that's like a year or so into Barry Allen as the Flash. So he crosses over with Jay Garrick, who in Barry's world is a comic book character. Because the comic book writer has dreams or visions of Earth 2, and so he writes. So Earth 2 is like 10 or 15 years behind Earth 1, chronologically speaking. So it's the 40s on Earth 2, but it's the 60s, 70s, 80s on Earth 1.
Right.
And so it gets
a little the Justice Society in Earth 2.
Right, and then Infinity Inc., which are the children of a number of the Justice Society, members. So like Nuklon, he's the he's somehow related to the original Adam. Jade is the daughter of Alan Scott, Green Lantern. Things like that. Fury was Fury was the daughter of the original Wonder Woman, who after Crisis no longer existed, because you had Wonder Woman on the Justice Society and the Justice League, but it's two different Wonder Women.
Right.
So, same sort of thing with Black Canary. They had to explain why there's two of these characters, and so the multiple Earth concept came into being, and it just became confusing.
Yeah.
Because you're like, wait, so Black Canary of Earth 2 came to Earth 1 and now is a member of that Justice League team. So, I mean, I guess if you put the pieces back in their appropriate boxes, it's less confusing. But once you start moving them around, it gets terribly confusing.
Well, I'm not saying it's not confusing. I'm just saying, like, you can get away from having continuity problems if you have the multiverse. Like, okay, let's say New 52 comes along and says, hey, we're in another universe. This is a different universe. That's very similar. It's got a lot of the same background, but they're a lot younger or something like that, you know. Suddenly the New 52 is in another universe, and, you know, so everything that you've loved is still out there in your own universe. But this new universe is out here, so
but how do you market that when I want to read about Green Lantern, and yet you think that's Alan Scott and I think that's Kyle Rayner?
What do you mean?
Well, they're both just Green Lantern, right?
Alan Scott and Kyle Rayner are very different.
Yes, I know, but their name is Green Lantern, right? Their superhero name. So I come in off the store into the comic book store, and I say, I want to buy a Green Lantern comic.
Right.
Which one do you hand me?
Well, I ask, is there a Green Lantern you like?
Oh, I just know Green Lantern. I heard there was a movie about it. My friend said it was great, but my other friend said it sucked hard, so I just want to see.
Well, I'd probably give you a Hal Jordan if it were the Hal Jordan movie.
Well, there's only the Hal Jordan movie at this point. So.
Exactly. Unfortunately.
Right, but I was one, you know, my friend told me Kyle Rayner was a great Green Lantern. But, I mean, you think about it, you read about Hal Jordan, and then you get to the point where he's lost his mind and doing some crazy stuff, and then you're like, what's going on here? Like, if you haven't been tracking with it, it's hard to understand all that.
Well, I'm not saying that it's not confusing. I'm just saying that if you do it right, it's still fits in continuity. So you're like, okay, well, that's just another Earth. You know, this is this Earth. This didn't happen in this Earth.
Well, and that's what they were trying to do after Infinite Crisis. They reintroduced the idea of the multiverse, and they were going to limit it to 52 different Earths, which is where the whole New 52 thing came from.
Right. Well, I think the problem is they want to get rid of the past and start afresh, but then everybody wants what's in the past. And so they try to bring the past in and keep the past history, but then make it new. And that was why the New 52 was so terrible.
Right.
So, I don't know.
I mean, Batgirl is a good example of that. Folks are like, we still want her to have been involved in this important story, The Killing Joke.
Right. Which wasn't even in continuity yet.
It wasn't at that point. Right, you're right. I mean, it was for the main comics world, but I just mean, like, they wanted her to be Batgirl again.
Right.
They wanted Barbara Gordon to be in the Batgirl suit, and they're like, how do we do it? And they're like, oh, New 52, here we go. And you're like, you want her in this story, but you want to ignore the reality of her situation.
Right.
And how important that became for a particular group of people who couldn't identify with, flying demigods, but can relate to a girl who got shot and can't walk anymore.
Yeah.
We've talked about that before.
Right. Well, and there's another character that they replaced and had earned their own right, meaning Stephanie and Cassie.
Yes.
You know, and then they just got rid of them and sent them back, and now they don't know what to do with them, which is why they come back and get shoved out into nowhere again.
Right.
Oh, anyways.
There are tons of characters who only get trotted out every once in a while just so that the company can keep the name rights.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it keeps the fans somewhat happy seeing their favorite characters again.
That's true. I was appreciative of Wally West coming back for a couple years. Just hate the way they killed him.
Yeah, well, I have a theory that he might be coming back.
Yeah, I know. I saw that video.
So, I mean, I could be wrong. But it wouldn't surprise me if they undid it. Or, actually, what I think is more likely is that they're going to make it, they're going to make it a different Wally. So it's not actually the Wally that we know and love, but it's actually a different Wally.
Interesting.
I bet you that's what it is.
Hmm.
Because this Wally is, was it 5 days?
5 days too old or something.
5 days or hours or whatever. Too old.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. So, that means the younger Wally is somewhere.
I don't know how they're going to work that.
I don't know. But that also makes you wonder is, what about the other characters, like Roy? I mean, he'll come back. He's definitely going to come back. He's a fan favorite, too. Just like Dick Grayson's going to be back soon, I'm sure. The stuff will shift around, and new management will say, everybody wants this, we're going to bring them back.
Right, but 3 years and then you recycle stuff, it just gets a little old and tiresome.
It does.
I'm thinking of Titans, they're going to be done here in a couple months, and, they started off Rebirth in a big way.
Yeah.
And it seemed like there were clues throughout the first couple of storylines that signaled they were going to be a big part of this.
Right, especially Wally. He was the center of it all.
And then all of a sudden they just were like,
Nothing.
can't do that.
It's sad
we're
because
just not, and we're going to act like y'all forgot about it. And
Convergence came and it kind of smoked out just like that. Like it came and it was gone. And then Rebirth came and we're like, oh, we finally have something like substantive. And then it just, about a year later, it fizzled out.
Yeah.
Anyways,
a year and a half, just because I think they were still dropping hints leading to this big reveal and just never came.
Yeah. Well, we should probably end it. It's been a long video. If you made it this far, thanks for watching. We appreciate it. We appreciate you coming out. And if you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. We'd love to dialogue with you. Give us a like if you enjoyed the video. And, yeah. So we will...
comment below. Let us know what you want us to talk about.
That's right. And we will catch you next time. Peace.